Is your pineal gland calcified? You can check for signs right now. No lab, no specialist, just your body and attention. In the next few minutes, I'll walk you through 3 clear categories of signs people notice when their third eye feels dimmed, show you simple, gentle checks you can do on camera or alone, and offer practical, non-medical steps to support clarity. If one of these things lands with you, stay with it. If something answers, it's worth your curiosity. Before we begin, a quick invitation. As you do the first small check, I'll ask you to make a tiny note in the comments. If you feel anything, type the single word, felt. That helps build quiet community resonance, nothing more. All right, let's start. Long before modern neuroscience, certain esoteric streams described an inner organ of perception, what many traditions call the third eye. Some Gnostic texts, like those found among the Nag Hammadi writings and references in the Gospel of Philip, speak poetically about seeing from within, about marks and remembrances that let a person recognize their origin. I mention those sources as interpretive context, interesting, evocative, not mainstream history. They offer a language for inner experience more than a clinical map. Today, we translate that language into a practical, embodied approach centered on the pineal gland, the tiny structure in the brain often associated with intuition, sleep-wake cycles, and inner imagery. Keep this in mind as you proceed. The connections I describe are esoteric and experiential correspondences, not medical diagnoses. If you have concerns about your health, consult a qualified healthcare professional. Also, some people raise the concept of pineal calcification in scientific literature. I will name that possibility here, but I will not make medical claims about your condition. Consider what follows an invitation to observe and sense. 3 categories, 3 signs, each mapped to a place in your body the original tradition spoke of as marks. I'll present each sign as both energetic language and possible sensory or behavioral correlates, then give you a single, gentle check to try. Sign 1, the base of skull. Stiffness and interior silence. What it feels like. Imagine wanting to drop into inner stillness and meeting a wall. Sleep that's shallow or fragmented, few vivid dreams, a difficulty sustaining inner silence, and moments of low-frequency tension around the base of the skull. Some people describe a heaviness behind the eyes, a persistent morning fog, or headaches that gather like distant thunder at the nape. Energetically, this is felt as a blockage between the head and the deeper interior, a muted channel for inner images and dream-led insight. Why this might relate to your pineal experience. The pineal is often discussed in spiritual traditions as the seat of inner light. If your nights feel restless, dreams are scarce, or quiet meditation brings only a pressured mind, these can be subjective signs that your inner visual and restorative rhythms are not flowing as they might. Short, gentle check for the base of the skull. Sit upright with your head balanced over your spine. Place the pads of your fingers very gently at the nape, where the skull meets the neck. Do not press. Just rest your fingers there and breathe slowly. Notice any temperature change, tightness, a flutter, or a sense of release as you breathe. You can tilt your chin slightly toward your chest, only a few degrees, and note whether tension shifts. If nothing happens, that is a valid answer too. Type felt in the comments if you noticed even a slight warmth, shift, or internal sense. Sign 2, lateral hand sensitivity and peripheral knowing what it feels like. This sign appears in the hands, the side of the palm, or the outer edges of the fingers. It shows up as a subtle dulling of peripheral awareness, difficulty sensing the edges of things, diminished intuitive quickness, or a sense that patterns that once popped into awareness now take longer to arrive. Some people say their hands feel disconnected, as if they are not fully listening to the world. Energetically, the lateral hand corresponds to reception, how you take in nuance, premonition, the whisper before the thought. Why this might relate to your third eye capacity. The third eye is not only about inner sight, it is about how perception filters through the body. Reduced peripheral sensitivity or a flattened sense of intuition can be a sign that the receiving channel has narrowed. Short, gentle check for the lateral hand. Rest your right hand palm up in your lap, fingers relaxed. Lightly run your left index finger along the outer edge of your right hand, from the base of the little finger to the wrist, using a very soft, feather-like touch. Do the same on the other hand. Notice differences between sides: warmth, gooseflesh, tingling, or a heartbeat-like pulsing. Also, lift your gaze to the space at the edge of your vision and notice if something seems there without you focusing on it. Again, if nothing happens, that is information too. If anything shifts, that's what we're listening for. Type felt to share that moment. Sign 3. Sternum center and the command of expression. What it feels like. The sternum center, the middle of your chest, relates to how inner knowing translates into statement and intention. When this area feels constricted, you might notice a shallow voice, difficulty speaking with conviction, or trouble commanding your life from a centered place. It can show up as words that dry up mid-sentence, a reluctance to claim your opinion in the room, or a sense that your clear intention never quite reaches outward. How this maps to the pineal third eye. The flow of inner perception must find expression. When the sternum center is quiet or guarded, inner insight may stay private, and the bridge between knowing and speaking narrows. Short, gentle check for the sternum. Place a warm, open palm over the center of your chest, right over the sternum. Don't press hard, simply rest. Breathe soft, full breaths into that palm. Notice whether your breath deepens, whether a subtle vibration emerges when you speak a single vowel sound on an exhale, an ah or an o. You may feel a looseness, a softening, or nothing at all. All responses are acceptable. If you detect a slight opening or resonance, note it inwardly and, if comfortable, type felt. Before we continue to a more guided, cumulative check, this next section includes gentle touch and attention to the head, hands, and chest. This is an experiential practice, not medical examination. If you have neck issues, recent injuries, or medical concerns, please do not perform any movement that causes pain or discomfort. This is not medical advice. If you have health worries, consult a qualified healthcare professional. Now let's weave the 3 checks together in a simple sequence you can do sitting comfortably. Keep your attention kind and curious, not hunting for results. Guided embodied check, 1 integrated round. Begin seated, feet on the floor, spine upright but relaxed. Close your eyes if that feels safe. Otherwise, keep a soft gaze. Step 1. Ground your breath. Inhale gently through the nose for a comfortable count. Exhale slowly. Let each breath settle you into your body for a few cycles. Step 2. Base of skull listening. Bring the pads of your fingers to the nape of the neck. Soft contact. No pressure. Rest there for a few breaths. As you breathe, imagine your breath flowing down from the crown into the back of your neck and settling like warm water. Notice any release, heat, buzzing, or stillness. Step 3. Lateral-handed reception. Release your hands into your lap. Take your left index finger and, with the lightest touch, trace along the outer edge of your right hand once or twice. Then switch sides. Keep attention on subtle sensations. Tickle, warmth, the sensation of noticing itself. Then lift your eyes to the edge of your peripheral vision and hold the space there without naming anything. See if a pattern suggests itself or a mental image arrives. Step 4. Sternum center and voiced anchor. Place one hand over the center of your chest. Breathe into that hand. On an exhale, let out a soft vowel sound, like ah. Notice whether the sound carries differently, whether a hum arises in the chest or throat, whether a sense of centeredness emerges. Step 5. Gather and observe. Bring attention to the 3 places: nape of the neck, sides of the hands, chest center, in quick internal sweeping observation. Notice which area feels most alive, which most quiet, and what, if anything, arose in your inner field: images, memories, a shift in mood, or nothing at all. Common responses you might experience: a warmth at the nape, a fleeting image in peripheral vision, a loosening in the chest, a remembered dream. Many will feel almost nothing at first. That's normal. Some will notice immediate subtle sensations. Some will meet quiet resistance, an inner voice quick to doubt or mock the process. That voice is expected. When doubt arrives, normalize it. In Gnostic language, doubt, distraction, and inner mockery were sometimes personified as archons, forces that interrupt remembrance. Think of that language as metaphor, a pattern of thought that tries to pull you out of the body into argument. When a skeptical thought rushes in, simply notice it like a passing cloud. Observe the content, label it if you like, doubt, or what if, and then gently return attention to the felt place. Do not engage with the argument. Let it have its space while you continue to sense. A few mini hooks to keep your attention. Try this small movement now. Tilt your chin just a degree and breathe. Notice anything? A thought will likely rush in to dismiss the experience. Watch it. Don't follow it. If one of these signs fits you, don't panic. Curiosity is the first practice. Interpretive clarity. Remember, what we are doing is experiential inquiry. The three signs are interpretive correspondences between felt experience and the spiritual language of the third eye. They are not diagnostic medical tests. If you read about pineal calcification in scientific sources, know those are clinical findings often identified through imaging. Here, when I say calcification, I refer to a symbol and a possibility, an image to help notice resistance in perception. If you suspect a medical issue or have symptoms that concern you, reach out to a healthcare provider. If your mind resists by saying, "This is nonsense," or "I should feel something dramatic," notice how those voices arrive precisely when attention narrows. The arrival of resistance is itself an important sign. It tells you something about the patterns that guard your attention. Treat resistance as data, not verdict. Practical, non-medical supports you can adopt. Small, sustainable steps. 1. Sunlight in the morning. Many practitioners value brief morning sunlight on the closed eyelids for circadian support. Spend a few minutes in natural light soon after waking. Phrase this as a habit for rhythm and not as a cure. 2. Prioritize sleep architecture. Deep sleep and REM are irreplaceable for mental clarity. Good sleep isn't a magical unblocking, but irregular schedules and poor sleep can dull perception. Consider a consistent sleep-wake schedule. 3. Breathwork and short, daily meditative attention. 10 minutes of gentle breath focus, nothing extreme, helps the nervous system settle and makes inner signals clearer. At first, keep it simple. Breathe in, count to 3, breathe out, count to 3. 4. Grounding and embodiment. Walk barefoot on grass if you can, or simply place your feet on the floor and feel the contact. A steady body helps the subtle senses speak. 5. Diet and choices. Some people choose to reduce fluoride-containing products or processed foods as part of a broader lifestyle aimed at clarity. Phrase this as personal preference and anecdotal practice. It is not a medical recommendation. If you consider diet changes, consult a nutritionist or medical professional. 6. Dream journaling. If dream recall is low, keep a small notebook beside the bed and write a word or two upon waking. That practice often strengthens the bridge between sleeping imagery and waking insight. 7. Community and safe guidance. Work with experienced teachers who emphasize safety, embodiment, and measurable habits rather than sensational promises. If you are exploring further, do so with humility and patience. The inner body is subtle. It doesn't always flash like a neon sign. Often the most meaningful shifts are gradual. Expectations and timelines. Some people notice quick, small changes after a week of consistent practices. For others, it takes months. There is no guaranteed timetable. Avoid absolute promises. This is a path of steady attention. Activation affirmation. Optional, symbolic, and psychological. If you would like a short phrase to anchor the practice, you can speak this aloud once, gently, and see what it does for you. It is a symbolic bridge, not an incantation with guaranteed effects. You may say aloud, I remember my origin. I open to quiet perception. I speak from the center. Pause afterward and listen. If you prefer a simpler seed, whisper, I notice. Use whichever feels resonant. You can also simply hold the intention silently. The power of these phrases lies in focusing attention, not in promising supernatural change. What to do if something significant arises? If you feel a strong movement, an intense emotional wave, a vivid vision, or bodily distress, pause the practice. Breathe, ground by placing your feet on the floor, and if needed, seek support from a trained practitioner or a trusted friend. Intense experiences sometimes need integration and cannot be hurried. Community resonance and the little data point that matters. If you felt any small shift during the initial checks, anything at all, type the single word felt in the comments. This isn't proof. It's a quiet signal to others that they are not alone in subtle noticing. Please do not post medical claims or personal health diagnoses in the comments. Keep it to the single word resonance to help us hold a simple, safe thread of community. A few reminders before we close. These practices are about learning to pay attention, reclaiming embodied perception, and tending to habits that support clarity. We speak of archons and the demiurge as metaphors for patterns of distraction and conditioned doubt, images from Gnostic writings that help some people map inner obstacles. Those texts are one interpretive tradition among many and offer poetic language for the experience of remembering. Use them as metaphorical tools, not as historical certainties. Final practical checklist to take away: morning light, consistent sleep, short breath practice, a dream journal, gentle body awareness, and a willingness to observe doubt without being hijacked by it. If you want to go deeper, I'll be making a follow-up series with safe, practical exercises to deepen these senses. No extreme techniques, just steady, embodied practice. If that interests you, subscribe so you don't miss it. Before I close, one quiet encouragement. Perception often returns, not because you force it, but because you keep turning your attention toward it. Curiosity is the simplest, bravest tool we have. When you notice, you begin to repair the bridge between inner knowing and outer life. If you felt anything at all during the checks, type "felt" in the comments now. If you'd like more guided practices, subscribe and join the next video where we explore gentle routines to support clarity. Thank you for bringing your attention here. Treat whatever you noticed with kindness, and continue to watch the edge of perception with patient curiosity.